And we're live. All right, call to order the Board of Library Trustees for Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. Roll call, please. It's you.
Here.
Here.
Trustee Rule is absent. Trustee Smart.
Here.
Trustee Samari here. Trustee Suplett.
Here. Here. All right, let's go on to public comments. Looks like I have here in my hands 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there another one coming up here? A couple more now? Okay. So, couple things real quick. When you do come up to speak, please state your name. Let's keep it within 5 minutes of time. And let's just keep it, let's just keep it very considerate and very respectful, and we'll do great here. So let's just kind of get started here. I've got the first person up here, Sheila Cruz. Okay. Stand here. Stand here. You can stand by your seat if you want to.
I'm here already, so here I am. I'm here tonight to express my disapproval to fly any flag other than government flags on government property. Under the Illinois Compiled Statutes Act, 5 ILCS 465, for flying United States flags at public facilities and each unit of state and local government. References to the types of flags flown include the United States national flag, the state of Illinois flag, military branch flags of the armed forces, and optional POW MIA flags. The statute, very specific, references how our national flags must be made in the USA, must be according to specific size for being flown outside government agencies and charitable buildings, the dimensions of the outside flags versus inside flags, such as for educational classrooms, when to move a flag at half-mast, etc. There is no mention of accepting the flying of flags other than our government flags. Both the Village of Arlington Heights and the Park District have received requests to fly flags other than government flags outside their agencies, and they have both turned these requests down. These agencies fly only state of Illinois, our national flag, our military branch flags, and the Village of Arlington Heights flag. To display a non-government flag on a city or municipal or other government building may be interpreted as government speech. I feel it's in the best interest of our government agencies to keep only our government flags and to avoid multiple requests from multiple entities to fly their flag. As a taxpayer, I do not want to see any flag other than the U.S. national flag, the state of Illinois flag, the Village of Arlington Heights flag, or our military flags flown over this library or any government agency for which I pay taxes. Thank you.
Let's move on to Joan Brody.
My name is Joan Brody, and I am a former library trustee. I ran for library trustee because I not only love libraries, but I also love what libraries stand for in our society, and especially what the Arlington Heights Memorial Library stands for in our community. It is an open and free place for all. No matter where you come from, no matter how you prefer to engage with the library, reading, attending programs, research, etc., you can do it here. No matter what your income level or religious beliefs or language you speak, everyone is equal and welcome at the library. So I find it really sad that in the world's current environment, filled with hate everywhere you turn, war in Ukraine, and simultaneous racist gun violence on both sides of the nation, just these past couple days, I find it sad that I have to come here tonight to do my best to make sure our library, the most welcoming place for everyone, and I mean everyone, to gather, to engage with each other, and to engage with the world through all it has to offer, remains a representation of freedom and democracy. So 2 points. 1, I do not understand why an elected board by the people cannot agree to a process whereby they decide on a case-by-case basis what additional flags can fly at our library. There is precedent. The library has committees that decide what goes in library display cases and what programs get offered. We do this so that the library remains a free and open community gathering place for everyone. This is literally part of our democratic process. What the proposed flag display board votes to do will be the final decision. But if enough people don't like how they voted, the elected members of the board will not be voted into office the next time. This is how our democratic process works. Two, for the record, I have a son who is gay, and I'm so happy when I see the gay pride flag displayed. I am happy because I know he is welcome. It is a fact. There are many people in this world who are racist and homophobic, and this scares me. But when I see that flag, I am less scared and more happy because I know he can fully be who he is and with acceptance. If the library is truly a place for everyone, then everyone should be welcome here, no matter what religion you practice, how much money you make, what language you speak, and how you identify. Thank you.
Okay, let's go on to, try Nathan O'Day.
My name is Nathan O'Day. I think I'm here for a slightly different reason. But I'd like to start this by telling you all a story. Obviously, I'm an American Caucasian man. As such, I feel as though I can't say or do anything to contradict progressive ideas that pertains to race or sexual orientation. I was blessed to grow up in a stable home. Both my parents were married for over 40 years. However, I've had to work for anything and everything that I wanted or I really needed since I was 15 years old. I bought and paid for my first car. I worked my way through college and have since paid it all off on my own because my parents were not in a financial position to help. I worked part-time through my entire 5 years in college and graduated with a bachelor's in biology and a master's in bioethics by the age of 22. I'm married to a Filipino woman and we have 2 boys. One looks very Filipino and one looks very white. When we are all out together, there are thoughts in our heads sometimes, looks and hushed comments about our mixed family, but does it bother me? No, absolutely not. Why? Because we live in a free country and they are free to think what they think. That is their right as a member of this country. I felt it necessary for your understanding to inform all of you where I'm coming from, addressing a concerning book from my wife that my wife found in the growing section in the children's department. Please keep in mind that these books are for very young children. I'm here tonight to talk about a book found to be both offensive and a complete misrepresentation of our great country. A couple of weeks ago, my wife found a copy of the book Race Cars by Jenny DeBenny. At the very least, it is honest on the cover as to what would be found inside the book. It says that it's a story about white privilege. I read the entire book when I had the time to make sure I wasn't assuming anything about the book's contents. Sadly, my suspicions were confirmed. Half the story is wonderful. It tells a story of a white race car and a black race car that are best friends. They don't care about how they personally do in the races. They just care about how well their best friend does. That is beautiful and that is praiseworthy and it should be encouraged. We teach our boys to judge others on their character and never on the color of their skin or background. The really sad part is the other half of the book. The author paints a very biased picture of what our country is today. Effectively transporting our country back to prior to 1964 when segregation was abolished. This book tries to paint a picture that faceless white men are actively trying their absolute hardest to make sure no cars of color place in first, second, or third because only white cars deserve to win. Throughout the entire book, both cars grow increasingly confused as to why and what is happening. Confusion is exactly the author's purpose behind writing this book. Can you imagine a child who is able to read, picking this book up off the shelf in this library, reading this type of story? Can you imagine what would be going through their minds? If that child was born with white skin, they would think, well, this is the library, so what this book is saying must be true, but I don't understand why I'm a bad person because my skin is white. Are my parents bad people too? Or imagine the other side, where a child with brown skin or black skin or any other shade of pigmentation were to pick up this book and read it. They would think much the same, except the confusion would be different. Are my friends who have white skin really trying to keep me from winning? Do they hate me? Should I hate them? because their skin is white. I do want to thank Greg Zeich. I exchanged an email with you and exchanged emails with Lisa Bavis as well. So I just want to thank you for your responsiveness and concern and listening to people in the community. I'm typically never against removing literature from public or any library as someone who deeply values knowledge the written word carries. However, this book and its author are at best unaware of how our country currently works, or at worst actively trying to promote racism in our country. Lisa directed me to the Publishers Weekly and Kirkus to have favorable reviews of this book, but Publishers Weekly simply regurgitates the synopsis of the story, and Kirkus says, and I quote, an earnest, uneven effort at tackling the big topic of little ones. Reading the full review on Kirkus, they go on to say that while the author may be coming from a good place, it's presented in a very biased and illogical way. Topics such as these are appropriate for higher education to start conversation and debate in that setting. However, our children should be allowed to be children. Children should not have to grapple with such sensitive and complex issues such as these. Children should be taught that nobody, and I mean not a single person in this world, should be judged solely on the amount of pigmentation they were born in their skin. If it's wrong, it's damaging to young minds, and will be only one direction. Promoting hate in our children when we should be promoting love and respect for everyone in our community and beyond. Thank you.
Kevin Morrison.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Morrison. I'm also the Cook County Commissioner. I represent the 15th District and a portion of Arlington tonight. I just want to thank the board for considering raising the pride flag this coming June, and especially smart for advocacy on this issue. You know, as the first openly LGBT person elected to office on the county board, I recognize, you know, there's still a lot that needs to be fought for in terms of seeing greater equity. You know, we've seen in recent years here in Arlington Heights itself, several homophobic incidents, pride flags being torn off of church buildings, vandalisms. You know, in part of my district up in Barrington, we had a trans student shot with pellet bullets while they were walking on school property. We're still seeing many homophobic incidences. You know, I actually just had a committee last week where we were discussing what we can be doing better to better serve our trans community here in the county. We have not, since 1999, found a single individual who was responsible for the murder of a trans person in Cook County. Not a single one of those cases were brought to justice. While at the same time, last year alone, more trans people were killed in the city of Chicago than any other major city in the United States. And so, unfortunately, as we're seeing in Illinois and in Cook County, the city of Chicago doing a lot of great things when it comes to better policies and recognition of the LGBTQ community, there's still a lot more work to be done. You know, especially with the incidents that we've seen right here in our backyards and Arlington Heights, there's more that we can be doing to be showing that our LGBTQ neighbors are welcome in our community. And I think it shows a really powerful statement, right? Raise that flag and show that, yes, libraries are a safe place for all, especially our LGBTQ family members. So I hope you do make that decision. If you do move forward with raising the flag in June, I would love to be there. But I think it sends an incredibly powerful message. We see the highest rates of suicide in our youth population within members of the LGBTQ population. I hope you know that by raising that flag, you will also be saving lives of youth here in Arlington Heights. And so I think it brings a powerful statement. And I hope ultimately that's the decision that you make. And I thank you for having me here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to Linda Riddle.
Hi, good evening. Nice to see you. I'm a longtime resident of Arlington Heights, 27 years. I'm a longtime patron of this library. I'm so thankful. I'm a preschool teacher. I called, they're so helpful. You guys send the book bags. I'm so thankful for all the support here at the library. I am in support of the library flying the pride flag during the month of June this year and every year in support of our neighbors and friends who identify as LGBTQIA and such. Pride and LGBTQIA rights are very important to me. I have many people in my life who are gay or transgender. My daughter, I was an ally before I became a parent of gay children. And I have preschool. These are 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds that I dearly love that are just beautiful. And they have family members that are gay. I have currently 2 children with families with 2 moms. And I want them to feel welcome at our preschool. I want them to see the flag. We fly the flag at school and at my church. I would love for them to see that as a visual representation too when they come here to the library, which I know that they all do. We talk about the library all the time. I value these individuals and appreciate all of their academic, economic, and cultural contributions to our community and our lives, to the local businesses, and to our civic institutions. Our library's value statement expresses support for diversity and inclusion, and our village has adopted a position that supports diverse gender and sexual orientation of everyone. So flying the pride flag in June is an outward symbol of that support, and I really appreciate your consideration in making that possible, flying that flag, so that they can all see that they're welcome and included. Thank you.
Okay, Josie Garkish.
I'm an active member of the as well as an active student, as well as a member of the LGBT community. And I want to speak in support of the and learn for her first time because I just really want to, I feel like the library for me and for many of my friends has been a place where I felt welcome. And even during the experience throughout my life, I felt like the library is one place where I can go to and feel like I don't have to worry about being judged for anything, whether it be what I'm studying or what I'm saying. I feel like having the library is a place where me and many other members of that, I feel like raising the pride flag allows us to feel very welcome in the space to this. So I just, yeah.
Good, thank you. Thank you very much. Maria Papadas. I know I butchered that.
Okay,
Sorry.
so Maria Papanas, nice to see you.
Okay.
All right. So, my name is Maria Papanasio, and I am the Youth Services Assistant Manager of the library. The comments I would like to share are my personal views and not those of my employer. Thank you to the Library Board of Trustees for your consideration of policy for flag use on HMO property. This discussion initially stemmed from a consideration of flying the pride flag. While I know some view celebrations of pride as political, I view pride and its symbolic flag as being centered on celebrating human rights. More specifically, pride and its flag are a reflection and representation of a movement that has championed intersectional human rights, seeking justice for many marginalized communities. Pride is a celebration of the achievements of those who fight against oppression and seek to secure the same human rights as others. Pride is an opportunity to celebrate inclusion, visibility, allyship, and compassion, originally symbolized by a rainbow flag created to proclaim hope. I would like to share a little of my story and why I personally feel it's important that the library display a visible and welcoming symbol of support by flying the pride flag. I am a wife to my husband, Alex, and mother to 2 girls, and I also happen to be bisexual. I grew up in a neighboring suburb in a religious household that didn't accept LGBTQ people. While I respect my family's beliefs, I didn't feel safe or supported as a young person struggling to understand my queer feelings and identity, leading to feelings of depression and anxiety as a teen. There was little visible LGBTQ representation that wasn't hostile or ridiculing, and little access to information or support for those within the LGBTQ community or who were questioning. While there have been improvements in those areas since I was a teen many moons ago, unfortunately, there are still disturbing statistics that show our youth need much more intentional support from their community. A recent national survey by the Trevor Project noted that 45%, almost half, of LGBTQ youth seriously considered suicide in this past year, with 14% attempting suicide. Almost 2/3 of LGBTQ youth report anxiety, and over half report depression. 55% of LGBTQ youth have experienced discrimination, and almost a third have experienced physical threats and violence. While these are alarming statistics, there are interventions that can have tremendous positive impact on these youth. Research from multiple studies has shown how access to information, positive representation, and a supportive environment can have a substantial impact on the health, educational outcomes, and safety of LGBTQ youth. In some cases, it can be the difference between life and death. Living in an accepting community and having access to safe and affirming spaces reduces suicide attempts and can offer a protective factor for LGBTQ youth. Offering affirming and representative collections and services can also have an overwhelmingly positive impact. 89% of youth report that seeing LGBTQ representation improves their feelings of self-worth. As a librarian, it is imperative for me to offer collection services and spaces that are equitable, diverse, inclusive, and accessible. At a time of unprecedented censorship and discriminatory legislation that targets the LGBTQ community and other minorities, I feel it is more important than ever that we continue to foster a community that actively and visibly supports marginalized populations. It has been my proud observation as a former resident of Arlington Heights and over the years of working at the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, the community members of Arlington Heights are welcoming, affirming, and inclusive. When faced with injustice and intolerance, those who support inclusion, diversity, and equity far outnumber those who oppose it. It is my hope that we move forward with a policy that allows for the flying of the pride flag as a welcoming beacon of acceptance, allyship, and hope to all in Arlington Heights. Thank you for your consideration.
Doug Weber?
Yes, good evening. I would agree. I oppose flying right off last year. I agree. The reason why I think this board has nobody. I didn't never talk about let's be give a takeaway from it. Other scholars have done it, so I don't think that's you know. I certainly think it's all fair that you have a clear policy as others that also have the rights and also have cause marginalized have the opportunity to fly flag along with the rainbow in the month of August and September. I think that's only fair for this.
That is all I have here. Is there anybody else on the public that would like to make a statement that has it? Yes.
My name is Amy Colcott. I'm former small business owner here in Arlington Heights. Currently run my business here at Arlington Heights. Chamber of Commerce president in 2015. So I'm pretty embedded and deep rooted in this community. I look at our library and you guys as leaders. This 5-star library, this world-renowned library, tonight to make a really great option and choice in embarking on something that's probably uncomfortable, something that you didn't think was in your purview when you were going to come into elected office. But ultimately, I think the comments from many people here in our audience today, for and against, literally flying the symbol of freedom, opportunity, inclusion, feeling that you fit, is really important. And this action today, as opposed to what I watched last night with the Village of Arlington Heights board, where the village spent a considerable amount of money on their inclusion, diversity, and equity plan, and had a great opportunity last night to actually take the talk and put it into a law. Literally by the motion of flying the flag, it probably means so much to so many, many parents, many grandparents, many people in this room, myself included, many businesses that support this library. Your decision today, for or against, will have an effect, and will have an effect in the way that most likely, if you can see the courage of conviction to jump into that uncomfortable ocean of including those that have basically been told no and even for so long, to see that power actually be felt within these walls by the action of the leaders. And when you're told you don't count, so hopefully today you can listen to all these words of encouragement. Parents, a parent of somebody that, maybe felt that they don't belong or they don't fit. Hopefully today you can see that your opportunity is here to help those just by flying a flag. Not gonna hurt anybody. It's actually gonna help a lot of people. And hopefully, that courageous vote that you can make tonight, will help some of our community and other areas of our community will also. Buffalo Grove is a fantastic representation of how a very, very difficult decision they made with the private parade. Look at the impact that it's had throughout this community and throughout Illinois as a whole. They are nationally renowned now. So I hope you can really see and feel the power that's behind this, the emotion that's behind it. It means a lot. There's a lot of business people here, some that aren't here tonight that really feel that power as well. So thank you for listening, and I hope you can make a 5-star move today. So put that $5 on the.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Tom Burke. Thank you for letting me speak and thank you for considering this matter. It's a very important matter, I think. I believe that if we don't do things, change how we support people going forward, we run the risk of excluding people. Change doesn't come unless we take bold steps. I just want to give you a little bit of my history. I lived in Arlington Heights since the age of 6. And I knew I was LGBTQ when I was in junior high, before I even acted on it. And my church told me I was going to hell. I was a Catholic at the time, now. It was really hard for me. I was being bullied at school. There were no role models. There was nothing. In fact, one of the few places that came to my rescue during that time was this library, back when it was still 1 story and the Hendricks room was up front. And they had this program, and I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember, it was called Puppetry Players. And it was a bunch of kids who would come in and perform puppet shows for patrons and people coming to the library. And even way back then, we did gender swap fairy tales, and we also did non-gender conforming puppets where all the puppets didn't have a gender and stuff. So even way back then, this library was thinking forward. And if it wasn't for this library, I don't know if I would have had any support, because like I said, there was nothing out there at that time. There were no role models on TV. The psychiatric organization had just taken it off the mental health list of diseases. And my parents sent me to a psychiatrist, and he still thought that it was an abomination, even though it was taken off of it. So it was a tough time. And I know kids still have a hard time giving some of the facts that you've heard today. And if they can see that flag flying out there, that'll mean a lot to them. It'll mean that you care. It'll mean this is a place that they feel welcome. We did adopt the DEI for the village, and we need to start taking steps. And if those steps have to start at the grassroots levels or at the library level, park district level, because the village is a little afraid to take the step, I think we need to show them what type of stuff we're made of. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Thomas, I want to apologize. You did sign up on the list here, so I apologize.
Okay.
And I went through this 3 times to make sure I didn't miss anybody else. But is there anybody else, though, that would like to speak?
Hi, yeah, I wasn't planning to speak, so this will probably be kind of brief and off the cuff, so I apologize.
Could you say your name, please?
Yeah, sorry, my name is Russ Bartlett. I'm employed here as a digital services provider substitute, so these are just my views, not necessarily those, I'm aware or anything of that sort. I just started working here over the past 2 months, and something I really appreciated before I even applied was seeing the the mission statement, diversity and inclusion was specific libraries core principles. I think that's important for any large organization, but especially a public service one that provides access to information services people might not have otherwise. I think bringing in all communities is very important to that. So that's something I really just appreciated and really felt in being here. And I just think that, you know, I think putting up the rainbow flag would just really speak to the, I think, the library. So I would that I think would be in line with the mission statement. That was appropriate for me to speak as a.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else? Yes.
I'm really Leon. I am a student, but I know that I'm prospects, I think, regardless, I still feel very connected with the LGBT community. As someone who's also part of the LGBTQ community, I felt like growing up, I knew that I was different, but I had no idea that the community even existed because there was such little representation anywhere in the public. So I feel like simply just raising the flag will allow others, like kids or just anyone, to maybe become aware that, oh, my sexuality does matter. It is something that is different, but that's okay. So I think just having the flag will make me and so many other people feel that I can come to a space that accepts me and that represents me and that will protect my rights and make me feel safe without being scared of us running out or just being open about my sexuality. I know just going to school, there's always aggressive comments or just rude jokes about being gay or just being trans or anything that was unique. And I think just raising a flag was something to make everyone feel very supported and connected. Thank you.
Thank you. One more time. Anybody else? Okay. I do also have, so everybody knows, we have been receiving quite a lot of comments. We've actually received, if my count's correct, 85 different emails. 8 of them were against it. 1, I honestly don't know. And the rest were in favor of it. 4 have asked to have their comments read in the public comments, so I'm going to do that right now. So bear with me as I trip over some words. Okay. First one is from Jennifer Borrell. I support AHML flying the pride flag on their flagpole during Pride Month. This would be a wonderful way to show that the library is a welcoming, open, and affirming place for everyone. I understand there are fears that allowing one flag to be flown may open doors to other flags being flown, but I don't believe we should allow fear to dictate our decision. If it comes down to a legal issue, Trustee Samari made an excellent suggestion to use a criteria proposed in an amendment brought up by Village Justice Grassi when this issue was being discussed at the village level last summer. Use the list of flags that the state of Illinois recognizes. I give my permission to read during the public comment portion of the board meeting on Tuesday, May 17th. Okay. Next comes from Jennifer Weiss, if I didn't say that wrong. I support AHML flying the pride flag on the flagpole during Pride Month. This would be a wonderful way to show the library is a welcoming, open, and affirming place for everyone. I give my permission for this to be read during the public comment board meeting on Tuesday. Okay, this is from Leo White. Hello, this is a comment for the May 17th board meeting. I am writing in support of the library flying the LGBTQ+ pride flag during the month of June. This is a crucial moment in time for the library to stand behind the values of diversity and inclusion with action and not just words. If our library truly supports creating an inclusive atmosphere, there is a clear and beautiful signal that can fly on the flagpoles for the month of June, a pride flag, which tells members of the community that everyone is welcome. Please consider flying this flag this year and every year to show that love is love is love. Thank you for your service to the library and to Arlington Heights. This isn't an easy time to be a leader, and I appreciate your hard work. Oh. This is from Stefan Moorhead. Good afternoon. This is a comment for the May 17th board meeting. I am writing in support of the library flying the LGBTQ pride flag during the month of June. This is a crucial moment in time for the library to stand behind the values that make our village the inclusive and wonderful place we call home. Support freedom of speech and expression. This is a clear and beautiful signal that tells members and residents of the community that everyone is welcome. As a father and husband, I want all residents to feel part of this great community. Please consider flying this flag this year and every year to show that all are welcome. Thank you for your time and for your service to the library. Okay, that is everything for public comment. Thank you all very much. As you know, we will be having more to say as we get to that next section. We do have some things that we need to go through first, some things we need to clean up, but we will get to that. So, thank you.
Is there a reason we can't move that to the first topic?
What I'd like to do, I was thinking about that. What I'd like to do is I'd like us to get through some of the financials. Let's get through that work. Then Andy is here to go over the kids' world renovation. I'd like him to be able to get a chance to go through that.
With all these people waiting, you're gonna do other stuff first. I mean, it's kind of rude.
Okay, yeah, let's please, for expected for tonight. I know I can be loose in this for a while, but let's keep it to the rubbish rule. Please, everybody, raise your hand.
President Dick, I would like to move action item 8 up to action item number 1, and then move the remaining items down one spot so that we can be respectful of our community members who are sharing their time with us tonight.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Yeah. Trustee Meadow,
No.
trustee Smart,
Yes.
trustee Samari. Yes. Trustee Stuffit,
No.
president Sick.
Yes. Okay, so let us go through. Again, I'm gonna organize here. Okay. So we're gonna do that at action item 1, but that will be after liaison reports, so let's go through the Friends of the Thanks Memorial.
Good. I have a report from the Friends. Their April sale was very successful. They made about $26,000. This was their first use of the credit card, accepting the credit card. They took in $7,248.17 via credit card at a cost of $226 in credit card fees. They will work with the library to add a network drop close to the Cardinal Room in order to use the credit card reader children's book sale in August. At their last meeting, they approved funding for American Library Association conference travel for one of their board members, Jen Burrell, who will be presenting with us. And they approved event snacks for an after-hours party for Staff Appreciation Day, which was the 13th. They are accepting donations Mondays 10 to 7, Wednesdays and Fridays from 10 to 4. And they have a couple of events coming up. They have a Passport to Fun and Children's Market Sale on June 18th, and the Summer Sale August 5th through 7th. That's all I have.
Let's move on to the foundation.
Okay, I have a report here from the foundation. There's scholarship passport is nearing its final stages and is now working on rubrics to guide their judges, working with a graphic designer to add to their webpage the criteria and application and develop a poster to promote the scholarship. They will bring the chairman to a future meeting so he can present their full program. They presented 3 sessions along with Brian Repsher last Friday at the AHML Staff Development Day. They tried to explain the difference between the 2 organizations, answered questions, and asked a few trivia type questions of their own. Prizes were awarded as well as attendance took a small appreciation gift home. In fact, attendees took a small gift home. They're having a spring advisory team event tomorrow. Turnout is low, so we'll plan to go back to April next spring, doing May activities and competition. And the board is taking July and August off, so the work on the scholarship program begins creating an annual fundraiser and develop this year's annual appeal can be developed with various community work.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so we are going to move on to what we call action item 8 and use of flags on library property. Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody for your comments. Everything was very to the point, and it made sense from many different standpoints. I'm incredibly proud to be associated with the library. We have really done things that we need to do to be inclusive. June is always one of those months where we have multiple programs that run through it, and I'm proud of them. Doesn't always meet with overwhelming response with the entire community. Over the last year, unfortunately, the button thing that we did last year, which was a great thing, I got ripped pretty bad by somebody who didn't feel that was appropriate. That's fine. That's fine. They do allow that. They do, or they're allowed to do that. Now, what I do want to say though, is this library, in my point of view, flying the flag is not necessarily the issue. I don't think, and I hate speaking with everybody, but just by the comments that we talked about last time, majority of us are fine with the concept. We want to be inclusive, and we want to do everything to be inclusive with everybody in our community, and that's greatly important. What we have to do, what this really is a discussion. I tried to frame it this way during our last meeting, but obviously it went towards the pride part of this. What I tried to do is I tried to frame this as, let's figure out the right way to do this. Let's figure out the right way to make sure that as a library, we're doing the things that we need to do for the community, for everybody in the community. But at the same time, let's make sure that we're doing it, that we're not having to cause any undue issues with it. I know there's been people who have said that that's fear, okay? I view it as responsibility. We, as a board, we sit here creating policies and approving policies. And the majority of the policies are brought to us by staff itself. And what are they? They're usually things to clarify, what we need to, what needs to be clarified, maybe something we're already doing, and we do that, and we vote on that. Or we need to make amendments to certain things that we already have to make sure things are running smoothly. And that's highly important. Now, here's the thing. We talk about these things 1, 2, maybe 3 times. We vote on them, we pass them, and we don't see them again until we get to the point where something needs to be changed. Staff, however, lives these things every single day. And what I do not want to do to the staff of this library is to put them in any difficult way, in any difficult point of view. Now, flying flag is fine. I do think it is a couple of you mentioned what a wonderful symbol it is. And it is a beacon to show people that they can't. Maybe it's not, they're not part of the LGBT community, but maybe they're thought of something else and they're ostracized because of something else. And it shows a freedom to come in there. I fully agree with that. That is an important statement. But we have to make sure, in the light of things that have gone on over the last few weeks, and we can't just sit back and what happened with Boston on the Supreme Court, we can't just sit back and not think about those type of things. Now, that's, for me, what the discussion is. And then we decide how we're going to do that and what we're going to do and what flags that we're going to get up. We do this the right way to make sure that we're doing what is best for everybody at the library. Now, since that last time, I want to let you guys know what I have been up to. A lot of the things that we have talked about. I have spoken with our representative, Mark Walker, with our attorney, Roger Ritzman. We have had, and with Mike, we have had multiple conversations. And he is, unfortunately, he could not be here tonight, but he is available if we do want to call him in at any point. And he has spoken to the lawyer for Glenview Library and various other lawyers to make sure that he was getting a full view on exactly what was going on. I also spoke with the president of the Glenview Library Board of Trustees also, because as we know last year that they put the flag, so I wanted to make sure that we got the story, that I got the story and understood what was going on there. Because Mari and I did have some discussion about these, about the potential statutes, or however you want to phrase it, for libraries in the state. We have spent staff time. We took some staff time to make sure that we were reviewing and we were researching to make sure that we understood exactly what the rules were and that we weren't missing anything as we moved on this. And Mike has also has reached out to ALA and ILA. I don't believe ALA would got back to us, if I remember correctly. But we were able to talk with ILA. Okay. Now you're probably thinking, what are the outcomes of all this stuff? They were varied. Talking with Mark Walker, he was not familiar with any statute that we had in Illinois. Spoke with Roger, and we're going to get to that point in a bit here because I want to talk about the what's in your packet and the drafts that are in there. So we'll get to that. Spoke with the president of the Glenview Library Board of Trustees named Alan Reuter, if I'm saying that correctly. We talked a couple of times. Yes, they put up the Glenview, they put the flag last year in Glenview. What happened at that particular point was the village of Glenview decided that they were not going to put up the flag. And I believe one of your associates reached out and asked them to put the flag. They didn't think about it, so they went ahead. They went ahead and did it. What they're doing this year is a little bit different, and it's changed quite a bit after the Boston ruling on how they are approaching it. What they had decided, and they're still working on policy themselves. They've got a meeting coming on Thursday. Same type of scenario. What they had decided that it was not going to be a library function. They were going to raise a flag, but it was going to be particularly sponsored by the Glenview Pride chapter, from what I'm understanding, and a local representative was going to be sponsoring it. They are also in the same type of conversation that we are right now. As they said, their lawyer talked with our lawyer, and they seem to fall in the exact same point of view as they're going through this. Amy, thank you for your help. That's smart. Thank you for your help. We did look through. You led me to a nice website that I was able to put in flag, and I came up with 102 statutes that were on it. I read them all. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to find anything. And I wanted something because I wanted to find something that the state had done, but I wasn't able to. Everything that they talked about was the U.S. flag, the state flag, your village flag, the military, the military division's flag. I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I butchered that, and the POWMI flag. It being there. Mike, Island, what did they have to say?
They did not have resources regarding the flag. They didn't have any precedent.
They didn't have anything going. So we've done a lot of research here. I feel we've done a lot of research. I'm sure there's some that could probably say there's more that we need to do. Okay. Let's talk about what's in the package. Yeah.
One thing from the American Library Association.
Absolutely.
And then we can move on. From the American Library Association, a library may, and I quote, employ the library's right under the First Amendment to speak in its own voice as a government agency about matters of importance. The library can exercise its prerogative to convey strong messaging that counters messages of bias, hatred, and discrimination. Such messaging can be proactive, affirmative, and ongoing, end quote. We'll continue. Just wanted to clarify when you were looking for something from the ALA.
And that's been in effect for 3 years.
I just have a question about Glenview. So you're saying that their flag is being sponsored by, I don't get it. Is it being flown in Glenview at the library or flown somewhere else?
No, it's being flown at the library.
But you're saying it's being sponsored by someone?
Yes.
Instead of, do we have sponsors on our flag?
No. No. For some reason cannot. I'm sorry.
Actually, that's not a question.
Yeah.
Actually, tonight, the Glenview Public Library is looking to adopt a written library flag policy, of which it took me 10 minutes to get today, right? That actually allows the Board of Trustees, like us, to determine which flags or provide that authority to the library director to determine what flags they want to fly that are appropriate for their programming. It's not a sponsored program, and their culture statement. So that, I actually have an exact copy, which I believe was provided to one of you or Roger 2 weeks ago. Okay, but they are actually adopting this evening. Did you get a copy of that, Greg?
I did not get a copy of that, trustee
I
Stark.
got it,
But what I will say, I'm a little confused at that because
I got it right here.
they have their meeting coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday they're discussing solar tonight. I got it right here.
Okay,
I can-
So-
I can provide that.
that is an example. That is an example of what they are doing. What I will say is we need to do what's right for Arlington Heights Library.
I'll just say one brief comment right now is policy is good. Policy is protective until it's challenged. And there have been many policies that have been challenged. And you only have to look at very close to home, a number of years ago with the Schaumburg Library. And perhaps those of you that don't know what happened is they had meeting room policy and a white supremacist group wanted to meet at the library. And they said, no, absolutely not. Well, they were challenged. They went to court. Guess who won? The white supremacist group won. Long story short, it cost the Schaumburg Library $25,000 in security in order to hold that meeting. And all that could be done really is to put that into a new policy of requiring a group that would be considered controversial, that they would be responsible for paying for security. So they had a policy in place. It was challenged and it went to court. So I just put that in. And I think it's a very open policy that Glenview is trying to put out.
Yes.
It's good until it's not.
So the policy, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to figure out what's the right thing for us to do here to make sure that everybody is safe. I will tell you what you have in front of you are 3 potential threats. And the reason why Roger did it in this particular way is that he wanted, there is some concern on his part. The resolution one.
Oh, but that's not a plan policy.
It's a resolution, and I'll get to, it's a.
Okay.
So here's what Roger is trying to do. Roger is trying to do what he needs to do for the library and keep us out of harm's way as much as we possibly can. So he has presented 2 particular drafts for us. The first one, as you see, the Board of Library Trustees, the board adopts this flag policy. It's the flag policy of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library. The library flags flown using the library flagpoles are limited to the following: the United States flag, the state of Illinois flag, the Village of Arlington Heights flag. With respect to the United States flag, it will be shown in compliance with the U.S. Flag Code, and it shall be at the top of any flag. So that's that particular one. The second policy is the exact same, except it throws in the term other flags from time to time. The board may approve flying other flags. Any flags approved by the board shall represent an expression of the board's official sentiment. Use of a library flagpole for any flag is not intended to serve as or create a forum for free expression by the public. Okay. And you see that hits home. That particular one. It hits a lot of what everybody is trying to talk about. Coach Mel, I do agree that it's a policy until it gets challenged. There's a lot of things going on in the state, and there's a lot of things going on in the world that are a moving target right now, as far as this particular topic goes. I'll jump here in a second, because I know I want everybody else a chance to talk. I apologize. Thank you so much. We have to, again, make sure that we're doing what's right for here. Yes, we've all got examples. We can take examples for and against in this. And I'm sure I've seen some of them. I've got a unique one that they're doing down at the state capitol that we have to be careful. That based on what they're doing at the state capitol, I think we need to be careful because it could translate into what we're doing here. But it doesn't have to do with flags. But we need to make sure that when if we throw this over to the staff, that we make sure that we are all comfortable with it, that we make sure that we realize that when we do that, something like that, if we do this, something like that, there are going to be ramifications. What happened in Boston, if that doesn't make you step up and take a look at what's going on around you and the possibilities, and I can't say, I have nothing, I have no words. I can't say anything because it is right there. It is a door opening to exactly what can happen from the next step. I do have more to say. I'm going to leave that right now. What I'd like to do is Trustee Rule could not make it tonight, but she did send a letter.
Point of order. President Zick, the Robert's Rules of Order would call for a motion and a second, and then to open up the discussion to the committee before we wade into individual statements. So if you would, I would ask that you call for a motion and a second, and then call for discussion.
Okay.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt 7.007 flag policy. The Board of Library Trustees, the board adopts the flag policy as the flag policy of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, the library. The following flags may be flown using the library flagpole: the United States flag, the state of Illinois flag, the Village of Arlington Heights flag. With respect to the United States flag, it will be flown in compliance with the United States flag code. It shall be at the top of any other flags. Other flags from time to time, the board may approve flying other flags. Any flags approved by the board shall represent an expression of the board's official sentiments. Use of the library flagpole for any flag is not intended to serve or create a forum for free expression by the public.
Thank you. Okay. Let's move on here. So the statement from Andy Rule, Trustee Rule. You all know I will not be able to attend tonight's vote. I am asking that this letter be read into record at the meeting so that it's clear where I stand on the issue. If any way I could be there, I would, as this is a vital topic to this community. I only wish this could have been addressed prior to my planned absence. I firmly believe that the library should be flying the pride flag for Pride Month while protecting ourselves with solid policy that prevents a barrage of requests for other flags to be flown and protects us from lawsuits and protects our staff. Diversity and inclusivity, is part of our mission, and the library has always been at the forefront of inclusion. We were one of the first to make statements about inclusivity about the George Floyd murder. We moved the ESL department to help with accessibility. We have offered programming supporting diversity and inclusion among a myriad of other examples. Being a leader and showing not only the Arlington Heights community, but the surrounding communities that we embody our mission is important. The feedback we have gotten from our customers is clear and overwhelmingly in support of flying the pride flag and supporting the LGBTQ+ community. Our customer statements show nearly 10-to-1 support. I agree with Trustee Meadow that walking the walk is more important than checking a box. I'm extremely proud of the program surrounding this that their library has put forth over the years. Equally as important is making a statement that this is a safe place for all of us. For a marginalized community, having that beacon is far more than checking a box. No good decision has ever been made out of here. I am deeply sad that I will not be able to attend this vote and hope that the board will place us on the right side of history, acting out of a steadfast belief in our mission and creative health and growth. I am done with that. Is anybody else who would like to go?
I would like to go. And I know we talked about this. We had a committee meeting earlier this month. Our committee meetings are always on TV like this. So if you ever want to look back at one and see what we talked about, it's there. I guess I would say the reason I'm a new board member. All right. And so when I researched what I wanted to get involved in, I love the library, but the value statement, number 3, talks about diversity and inclusion. It's a big deal to write these statements. They're good for like 5 years. So they put it as number 3. We cultivate an inclusive atmosphere, celebrate our diversity, and create an environment for open exchange of differing ideas and points of view. And I love that we have different points of view here. That's good, that's healthy. We had so many people send emails, which is amazing because I always think I know a lot of people in Arlington Heights and I only knew one name. People that have lived here 50 years, people that are new. I think we do a great job at reaching diversity. We have senior services, they have their own special library building. We have our bookmobile that reaches parts of town that are, you know, a little further from here, or maybe apartment buildings, different places that access is limited. We have great ESL programming. We have a fabulous kids world. We highlighted a new collection that we just partnered with to have an accessibility for parents, caregivers, kids with developmental disabilities in lots of different ways. So we're really doing it in every way we're doing it. This is the right thing to do for our community. This is a group that has been perhaps marginalized, ignored, not felt safe. And I really agree with something Trustee Meadow said last when we talked about it before. She said, you know, actions speak louder than words. I agree with that. And as she brought to my attention, we've been doing Pride programming for 10 years. We have a lot of different things going on. But I also think symbols matter. That's why we have the flag up in the first place, right? We're Americans. We believe in democracy. We believe in our country. That's why it's on the flagpole. So, you know, the libraries of, it's like one of the best parts of Arlington Heights, especially anyone in this room believes that, or they wouldn't be here. We've been a library for 135 years. This is just another group that we are celebrating and welcoming. And someone here, and one of the letters that we got was from someone who I assume was a veteran that said, you know, then why don't we host the POW flag? Well, you know what, we should. We are a memorial library. We had some great veterans programming this year. Absolutely, we should. Which was why I suggested at the last meeting that we only allow flags that are allowed, flown, approved, whatever the word is, at the State of Illinois building. We could do the federal building. I mean, the Pentagon flies the Pride flag. This is not like, I don't think this is going to bring us to fly the Nazi flag because we have a policy. The reason the Boston situation occurred is because they did not have a policy. And they let a lot of different groups fly a flag, and then they didn't let a Christian group fly the flag. And so then the Christian group sued them and said, hey, you let all these other groups fly it, why not us? Well, that was separation of church and state, and it was a group that didn't have a policy. If we have a policy, then we as a board can choose which flags to fly. And if you don't like what we choose, vote us out, right? We get elected every 6 years, so vote us out if you don't like what we're doing. But I have to say, I was really surprised by how many people sent emails. And there was an attorney in town who was very pro and had lots of attorneys speak. There was someone else who works for the library who's not in this building, who I don't know personally, who sent a very impassioned email. There were a lot of emails. I understand it would take a long time to read them all. Although I know at the village board meetings, they did read them all, but I get it. It was definitely 8-10 to 1. And certainly there were some people that don't want us to do it. And I respect and understand your view. I respect and understand your view. But I think the library is not the village hall. And the village specifically at their board meeting said that other places in Arlington Heights and other groups like the Park District or the library could fly the flag. Their policy was for the village building. So I really think it's the right thing to do. And I'm very disappointed that Trustee Rule isn't here tonight because she had a lot of great things to say. And, these are people that I've met through this work. And I just think that there's only 7 people on this board. And it's a shame that one of them is not here, but I think it's the right thing to do. And I think we need to find a way to do it.
this June. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Bill?
Yeah. Thank you, President Zick, for the opportunity to speak. I want to thank my friend and colleague, Trustee Smart, for elevating the importance of equity for our LGBTQ members of our community with her suggestion of displaying the Pride rainbow flag on the pole at Arlington Heights Memorial Library. I support gay rights. I support gay marriage. And this is an important discussion that must take place now and again later to assess who we are as a library and what we represent to our residents and our neighboring communities. Inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility, IDEA is the acronym we use here in the library. It is critically important to the trustees, staffs, and patrons of AHML. And the board approved adding diversity and inclusion to the vision and values of the library in 2017, my first year as a trustee. IDEA is a prominent in our library vision, mission, and values, and specifically expressed in our strategic plan. AHML has distinguished itself as a leader in IDEA for many years with our programming and collections dedicated to Inclusion and Awareness Month and our accessibility collections. MLK Day, Black History Month, and the new programming plan for Juneteenth, as well as navigating immigration rights, resources, and remedies, and much, much more. As a trustee, I take great pride in that AHML talks the talk and walks the walk when it comes to idea and belonging. And such programming, collections, and events would not be possible without the leadership of our executive director, Mike Driscoll, and his extraordinary staff. I can't thank them enough for their vision and performance of their service to our community. For us today is a motion on a policy that is supported by a non-binding resolution, which would be the bag, to recognize LGBT Pride Month and then fly the rainbow flag. And when you drill down into the policy and the resolution, as written, it says, the intent is not to serve as or create a forum for free expression. Rather, the use of the library flagpole is an expression of the board's official sentiments. I find that a fundamental contradiction of our vision, mission, and values. The board does not supersede the authority of the community who elected us as their stewards. There are many National Heritage Months, Black History Month, Women's History Month, Native American Heritage Month, and Pride Month, to name a few. There's even a longer list of national awareness months, including May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. Yet the only occasion being considered in this resolution is Pride Month. And while that might be a place to start, it cannot be done hastily with a promise to revisit the use of the flagpole as a public forum at a later date. And as you are aware, and as what has become very public over the past 2 weeks, is that flags, by design, evoke emotion, patriotism, love, fear, loyalty, and pride. But not all people share the same emotion a flag is intended to elicit. And in fact, they may evoke an emotional response quite opposite of what a flag intends. And I'll remind my colleagues that it was on June 30 of 2020 that the last representation of the Confederate battle emblem was eliminated from the state flag of Mississippi, some 155 years after the end of the Civil War. Of course, you could say, oh, that will never happen again. But then I'll remind you of the insurrection that took place on January 6, 2021, and the standards that were carried by the rioters. What is your flag today will be another's flag tomorrow. Therefore, this is a much broader concern than a resolution before us, and one that requires discernment. The use of the one flagpole at Arlington Heights Memorial Library as a public forum requires thoughtful deliberation into a policy and how that would be implemented. To consider the use of the flagpole as a public forum would require a process by which the trustees would have to solicit and then approve which flags would be flown and when. And it may be possible to draft a policy to use the flagpole as a public forum that may be acceptable to the community to raise awareness of special interests or groups. But it would require an investment in a lengthy legal and administrative remedy that in the end would likely prove unsatisfactory to many and potentially divisive. And while one need not agree as to which flags may be flown and why, the point is that there are better and more responsible ways to conduct a public forum than hanging a banner from a flagpole. The library presently serves in this capacity through its vision, mission, and values, and in the implementation of our strategic plan. Expanding this forum to the flagpole would be a poor and unnecessary use of library time and resources. To be frank, while there are flags such as the rainbow pride flag around which I would quickly rally and do so personally and privately, there are others which I would ardently protest. This is to say, I am biased. And no matter how much I may agree with this cause, my personal belief doesn't justify the action being proposed in this policy and its subsequent resolution. I have a bigger duty to my constituents as a steward of this extraordinary asset to see that the actions taken by the board are thoughtful, thorough, and aligned with its mission, vision, and values. And as a trustee, I will continue to serve as a steward of our library and encourage Mike Driscoll and his amazing staff to inspire our community with their extraordinary progressive programs, collections, and events. And I will promise to pursue regular review and updates of the strategic plan that serves as the library's touchstone of who we are, what we do, and how we do it. And when changes are needed, then I will be among the first to pursue them. In summary, this is not a referendum on gay rights. Rather, this is a policy, a motion on a policy and a resolution on the floor to use the flagpole as a public forum. And make no mistake, the law says the flagpole is a public forum and policy does not supersede the law. My trustee colleagues, this is undeniable and it cannot be dismissed or nuanced by language contained within a library resolution. It would include an extensive legal and administrative process that likely would end without consensus and incur increasing division and animosity. It's your flag today. It's someone else's tomorrow. If this board moves forward with this policy and its resolution, we open the door by setting a precedent for future boards to do precisely the same thing in a manner that aligns with their vision, mission, and values. I support flying only and without exception the flag of the United States, the state of Illinois, and that of the public organization where the pole is located. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
I could follow. I just wanted to point out that in our quest to be kind and welcoming and inclusive, we have to realize that in turn we are being exclusive. The second largest group in Arlington Heights are our Asian Americans. And perhaps you have read where attacks have increased throughout the country on Asian Americans. We are addressing one segment of our population, but what about the other populations? The library purpose is to educate, to enlighten, to teach. We do this through collections, programs, classes, exhibits, and displays. Tonight, we heard critical information about LGBTQ youth. This is information, as an example, this is information that the library should be providing to our community through programs, collections, exhibits. There is so much to learn about our populations that reside in Arlington Heights, and flags don't do it. But knowledge will, and that is the role of the library and what our library must provide to our community.
Thank you for everyone being here and for your comments. Thank you to the rest of the board for sharing their sentiments as well. I really had 2 points, and it initially was from the American Library Association because as Trustee Suplet mentioned, I look at my role as a public servant and to reflect what the community is asking. Trying to put any bias or personal thoughts aside. And I too am newer to the library in the past year. So I do look to the Library Association. I look to guiding principles. And that is why it was important to me to find that the ALA does use as a strategy to be a beacon for diversity and inclusion, especially in the light of the increased hate and discrimination that has been occurring throughout our country and the world. That the library can use its voice as a government agency and not a public forum, and to be proactive and to be affirmative and to be ongoing. And the only other thing that I really feel is that in this room, it's been stated that this decision, this policy that's on the table is not a referendum on our gay community, our pride. And I believe that those that have said that truly mean it. However, I will say that this decision is a referendum on the values and goals that we have set forth in our strategic plan and a referendum on the library's commitment to diversity and inclusion. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for taking the time. I want to thank my fellow trustees. This has been a difficult issue for all of us. We received many emails from our community of whom we're supposed to represent in the affirmative for the gay flag, not it being a sole symbol, but being the start of something wonderful. And I believe through a solid policy that we can get there. I believe it is our duty to invoke and lead. And that includes being mindful of the comments that Trustee Samori brought up regarding our inclusion and diversity. Our values and priorities should not be abandoned based on fear of something happening. We have always been a leader. People have made it to the moon. People have solved polio. Women are traveling to space, not out of fear, but out of destiny. We are leaders in this community and need to see our destiny. This opportunity to make this part of our programming for a month-long service celebration with programs and a flag, I believe is what our community wants. I had a nice conversation with the State Attorney General's office. I did some homework too. And they do have a policy that allows the governor of this state of Illinois to determine when and where flags will be flown. They've had that policy for quite some time. It is not in a law, it is not in a statute, it is a policy. I also did receive, contrary to what Carol thinks, a very detailed policy that was written by the Glenview Library today by their attorney that actually does specifically address the recent Supreme Court decision that's been pointed out by President Zick. And it is their attorney's opinion that their new policy will stand up to the test of time and will allow them to celebrate many things. I, more than anybody else, would have loved to have us look at this in time to celebrate Asian American Month, which is actually the month of May. But we've missed that opportunity. Perhaps we can look at that next year. But I think DEI is something that's at the cornerstone of the future of this library. I believe it's important to our staff. I think we all appreciate the personal perseverance of some of our staff members to come here tonight and speak to us. And I just think at the end of the day, we are the stewards of this community. And we have received more emails regarding the support of this action than any other action we have taken in the history of this library. And those should not be ignored. I also want to point out that we had the opportunity recently to be more inclusive and diverse, having nothing to do with the flag, by having our bookmobile participate in the Buffalo Grove National Pride Parade, which I believe was nixed or not denied or said no to by our own President Zick. That would have been a nice idea of how we could have been more diverse and inclusive in a parade, which has been acknowledged as now a national symbol of DEI. So we have to start somewhere. Is this document perfect? Maybe not. Does it need more work? Surely. But I think it's time for us to be leaders again in this community and not be fearful of what if, but be grateful for what is.
Anybody else? Okay. Heard a lot of good, strong statements here. And I will tell you, I agree with all of them. It's a little confusing because there's some diverse opinions that have come here. We do want to be leaders, and we are leaders. We do want to be protective of this library and the staff that we have here, and no doubt about that. And I think that is our first and only responsibility, is to making sure that we are doing the right things. Yes, we need to be inclusive. And Trustee Geller, one thing I'm going to say in relation to the way your comment was, is when we talk about how one of the issues, I'm going to say it this way. I had somebody approach me before the last meeting and said, I know our library is going to do the right thing. And this was a person who was in supporting of the
But in support.
in support. I know our library is going to do. And the majority of the emails that were sent to us had a similar sentiment to it. All right. Here's where I had an issue with this. We are an incredibly inclusive community. We do the right thing day in and day out for this particular community. For all communities. This has become a referendum on whether we support the LGBT community or not. That's what this referendum has become, or this discussion, excuse me, has become. And it upsets me. It upsets me. Now, I'm not expecting you to feel sorry for me, but I've been personally attacked. I'm not here just the whole day, more than I have in my entire life. I have been told that certain credentials that I have been established in my entire adult life because of this one vote means that that's all gone. That I really don't support that because of this one vote. If I don't vote the way that they wanted me to vote, I've been told that by a few people today. Okay, I'm a big boy. I'm an adult. I can deal with that. All right, I can deal with it because knowing that what I'm going to do is going to be based on the right thing to do. Now, for the library, for the community as a whole. And what I've said is I am not opposed. I am not opposed to us having a flag policy and doing something to fly the pride flag. Now, Trustee Smart, as you informed me, I missed something that came up today. And you said that their statement, what you've just indicated, is stronger than what the statement that we have stated today. What I'd like you to do right now is I'd like you to tell us and read what it is that they
Sure.
had.
I'd be honored to. Let me find it. Get off my phone. All right. The Glenview Public Library flag policy. Purpose: the library has 2 flagpoles located on the southeast corner of the library property. These flagpoles fly the United States flag, the state of Illinois flag, and the village of Glenview flag as well as additional flags chosen by the library as expression of the library's mission, core values, or official sentiments. The library flagpoles are not intended to serve as a forum for free expression by the public. Instead, the flags are flown on the library flagpoles, which be selected by the library, and the flagpole will serve as a government forum. This is the key for the expression of the library's missions, core values, and official sentiments as we are recognized by the Supreme Court decision in Shirkoff versus City of Boston. The policy will follow the provisions governing the display of flags found in the United States Code, Title IV, Chapter 1, and Illinois Flag Display Act 5, ILC 465. The library director will oversee the administration of the flagpoles. When selecting the flags to be flown on the library flagpoles, the library will consider the following: whether the United States or the state of Illinois has recognized the flag through statute or proclamation, whether the flag represents a national, state, or village interest and is consistent with the library's mission, core values, or sentiments, whether the flag represents a positive interest or value worthy of public recognition and is consistent with the library's missions or official sentiments.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if trustee Smart might reconsider her motion, withdraw it, and then substitute her motion with what it is that you just read from using Arlington Heights Memorial Library in its place.
Before you answer that, can I make a statement, please?
Oh, no, not really.
Actually, it's come to me first.
Yeah.
That's right. I will withdraw my motion and modify it to read the following. Arlington Heights Public Library Flag Policy. Purpose: the library has flagpole, we have one singular, correct? Located at the front of the library's property. This flagpole flies the United States flag, the state of Illinois flag, and the village of Arlington Heights flag is not flown. As well as additional flags chosen by the library as an expression of the library's mission, core values, or official segments. The library's flagpoles are not intended to serve as a forum for free speech by the public. Instead, the flagpoles are to fly library flags which are selected by the library and to serve as a government forum for expression of the library's missions, core values, and official segments as recognized by the U.S. Supreme Court decision, Shirkoff versus the City of Boston. The policy will provide the provisions governing the display of the flag found in the U.S. Code Title IV, Chapter 1, and the Illinois Flag Display Act 5, ILSC 465. The library director will oversee the administration of the flagpoles. When selecting the flags to be flown on the flagpole, the library will consider the following: whether the United States or the state of Illinois has recognized the flag through a statute or proclamation, whether the flag represents a national, state, or village interest and is consistent with the library's mission, core values, or official segments, whether the flag represents a positive interest or value worthy of public recognition and is consistent with the library's mission or official sentiments.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna throw out. Here's. I do get where it's a stronger policy. Here's my concern. Many times we have sat here and we've asked for clarification on certain things and for Mike to go back and put us through to our to vet it and make sure that we're not doing anything untoward. That's our responsibility. Here's what I'm gonna say. At this particular point, I would like to table this discussion and this vote. We have another meeting, a committee of the whole meeting coming up on whatever that first one is. I understand, and for everybody that wants to fly the flag on June 1st, I completely understand that. but I will not go against my policy or my thought that I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, not only for the community, but also for this library. We can make that typically committee of the whole meeting. We don't vote on things, but we can change that. We can make it we can actually make it a board meeting. So what I'm going to suggest is let's take all this, let's get it worded correctly. Let's have our lawyer, Roger Ritzman, review it. And then when we come back on June 6th, let's review it again and make sure that we're doing this, that we're doing this the right way. And there's no loopholes in there that's going to get us caught.
I would say that I like Trustee Smart's amended policy. I think that the roll of the dice here truly is whether it meets the legal standard. Policy does not supersede the law. And in that respect, we're basically trusting Glenview for having done their homework and researched the law to the extent that it needs to be. And that's the roll of the dice. But having said that, I do appreciate Trustee Smart's amendment.
So we can decide that we will make that a meeting where we can vote.
Yes.
Yes.
We've done it in that.
If we have a board member who's incapacitated, can she vote remotely? No. But
There is a gray area to that. You cannot vote by proxy.
no, but
But as long as we have a quorum in the building, I believe it is that she can be on video.
Right, yeah.
clarify.
Any thoughts? Table this until June
So there's a
6th.
motion on the table, so that has to be voted.
Okay, do the roll call.
Trustee Dalla? Yes. Trustee Meadow?
No,
Trustee Smart?
Yes.
Trustee Tamari?
Yes.
Trustee Stucker?
Yes.
No. So that becomes it. That becomes the policy.
that we're going to have a policy that our attorney has not reviewed. Our attorney has not reviewed this. I'm very disappointed. I think this is not right. But we have our attorney for it.
Okay.
Make a motion for 5-minute recess.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Call back in order. The Board of Library Trustees meeting Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. Janet, do a quick roll call.
Trustee Dalla? Here. Trustee Meadow?
Here.
Trustee Smart? Here. Trustee Tamari? Here. Trustee Stucker?
Here.
President
Here. All right, let's go on to action item 1, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of April 19th, 2022. Motion?
I motion to approve the meeting of the minutes of the board meeting of April 19th, 2022.
Any comments, questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That one
Nay.
passes. Say nay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I said, I meant to say aye. Sorry. Yeah.
Action item 2, approval of the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of May 4th, 2022.
Move that we approve the Board of Library Trustees minutes of the committee of the whole.
Comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, that one goes. Go on to item 3, review of the financial report for the period ended April 30th, 2022.
Okay, real estate tax revenue total $320,741.25 for the month of April. The library received personal property replacement taxes of $58,976.53. Copier printer revenue totaled $3,207.91. Lost item charges totaled $822.60. Friends of the library reimbursed us $2,746.80. And Makerspace miscellaneous revenue was $164.25. So total revenue collected in April was $387,812.91. On the expense side, 33% of the fiscal year has lapsed, and we have expended 31% of our total operating budget. The favorable variance to date is $332,336, and 54% of the total annual capital budget has been spent as of April due to the Miller replacement of the Miller.
Good. Any comments or questions from Mike? All right, let's go on to action item 4, review of the check register of the period ended April 30th, 2022.
Okay, let's check here to go over. Pages 2 and 3, I'm going to go through a series of checks. These are all for our staff day, our staff appreciation day activities. Check 83292 to Amazon in the amount of $247.92. Check 83313, Build a Blinky, in the amount of $806. They were an outside organization that came in for an activity for staff. Check 83321, Jennifer Kemmerow, for $150. 83329, Charles Crane, $200. Check 83356, Ingram Library Services, the amount of $2,038. That was for books that we handed out to staff as a takeaway for the day. Check 83358, Allison Janata, for $550. She was our keynote speaker. And check 83420, Mark Zelkowitz, in the amount of $200. He was a session presenter. On page 3, check 83391 to Armando Perez in the amount of $1,700. That is for the Sunday Music Health program for May. These fees can fluctuate significantly depending on the performer and are reimbursed by the Friends of the Library. On page 4, check 83316 to CDW Government Incorporated for the amount of $5,907.05. That is payment for 6 LED monitors and 4 Apple Mini computers. Those are for the studios. On page 5, check 83323, Tom Floorpacks, in the amount of $9,195. That is new carpeting for our collection services area offices. On page 7, check 83320, Cody Michael Clark, in the amount of $375. That is a 50% deposit for a youth services program to be held in October, where magic will be paired with railway facts. So I don't know if you want to. Do you know what that program's called?
It is, I believe it's a young man with autism who is going to do special brains are his thing, and
also on page 7, check 83399 SNS Worldwide in the amount of $2,159.20. That is for magnetic drawing boards to be used as summer reading registration prizes. Page 8, check 83289 Stable Card LLC in the amount of $2,496.90. Replenishment of adult library cards and purchase of new infant baby library cards. We usually replenish these 1 to 2 times per year, depending on the type of card. On page 9, check 83302, Authors Unbound Agency in the amount of $3,750. That is deposit for our October speaking engagement with the 2022 OBOB book author. Total cost for the event will be $7,500. Also on page 9, check 83303, Drum and Dance, the amount of $1,500. That is dance and drum program being performed at Metropolis Theater in June in a partnership with us. On page 10, check 83394 through ProQuest LLC in the amount of $18,909.14. That is for digital services subscriptions related to news and ancestry heritage tools for May through April, May 2022 through April 2023. $7,549.55 related to this invoices on page 1 is a prepaid for that. That is all the purchase I have regarding the check.
Did we have a motion for approval?
Yes, I would move that we pass the accounts payable check register for the Arlington Heights Memorial Library for April 30, 2022, in the amount of $1,066,068.67.
Do a second,
I second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Bella?
Yes.
Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Smart?
Yes.
Trustee Tamari?
Yes.
Trustee Suckler?
All right, we have next executive director's report, Mike. Give like a real abbreviated version and say, sure.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so if you go to page 8, I wanted to highlight the our programs and exhibits manager, Jennifer Chika, and programming chair at Illinois Library presents developed the most heavily anticipated event of the 6-month ILP pilot. The love for their TV and film characters and Grammy-winning songwriting, respectively. Author, actor Nick Offerman, and musician, author Jeff Tweedy fielded questions during the hour-long conversation on Zoom. Over 600 questions were submitted by attendees. We had almost 8,000 people registered, with 5,955 attending the live virtual event. Yeah, the recording has been viewed 2,486 times to date.
Is that just us or everyone in the group?
That was everyone. That was the entire group. Arlington Heights Memorial Library drew the largest audience of the live event at 300.
Oh, yeah.
And then I will mention on page 11, on April 22nd. April 22nd, the Maker Place hosted a system-wide bake-off for School District 214. Competition was a brainchild of State Senator Ann Gillespie, who represents the district's communities, including Arlington Heights, in the Illinois General Assembly. Our programs and exhibits manager, Jennifer Chika, and digital services manager, Jack Bauer, collaborated with the Senator's office and the school district to bring the event together. In addition to Senator Gillespie, a panel of local restaurant industry talents judged the 6 student teams. And the winning teams will share a $10,000 scholarship to Harper College's hospitality management program.
I thought this was really great,
Yeah.
you know, and a wonderful use of our kitchen. Quite a prize too.
Want me to keep going? Or
I think-
those are the kind of
I think that's good, right?
Yeah, we read it.
Okay, let's go on to item 5. Kids World Refresh Project update. Sorry, you've been holding there so long?
Not a problem. I don't know, I'm a vendor there to constituents. I know that's Thanks, everybody, for having me tonight, and no problem at all to get the presentation at this point. We just wanted to give everybody an update on where we are with the project. Since we talked a couple months ago, we've had a little bit more discussion with staff about really getting into some details of where collections sit, what kinds of shelving we need, things of that nature. And we've also started to have some interior concept meetings with staff. They came to our office to take a look at some initial ideas for the parts of the project that do require new finishes, like paint and flooring and light fixtures and all that good stuff. And we're here tonight just to give you an update on where we're at, get some feedback, and give you the timeline for continuing the projects. I figured this remote out. So 2 months ago, not that I'm expecting anybody here at the table to have completely memorized the previous plan, but we've done very little in terms of changing the overall layout or organization of the plan. So what you saw a couple months ago in terms of overall organization is still pretty much intact here. Again, we've been working on much smaller details of how collections are organized, what kind of shelving goes where. In some cases, it would be nice to get some new shelving if the budget can support it, to properly support the collections that are going in various places. So I want to emphasize as we go through this and we talk about, as much as we talk about design and energy and a look, this project is at its core in the first phase very much about a functional reorganization to
improve learning outcomes, improve outcomes and experiences for everybody who uses Kid World. And for that reason, we've spent a lot of really intentional time with staff on layout and thinking that through and why things go where and diving into collections and a lot of those details. So I want to thank Maria and all of her staff for giving us that really great input. But what we're really here to focus on tonight are some of the initial concept images we have for the project. And in this first image, I think it's important to set up a couple things here. As one update, we did have a hearing with the Illinois State Library a few weeks ago for the Live and Learn Construction Grant for Accessibility. We were not awarded that grant because we'd applied for a grant 2 years ago and received that particular space. So their rules are that because we've already gotten money in the last 2 years, everybody else gets in line before us. So good news, bad news is we didn't get a grant this year. The good news is we can get one next year for anything that we want to do. So for that reason, we've been having this discussion, doors or no doors. My suggestion to all of you, or our recommendation is do this initial project without the doors. We can always provide power where we need it. As this project goes into its other phases, we're going to have other opportunities for accessibility improvements, and those doors could be part of it. So that's something you could think about if you don't want to do them now. But what we're thinking about here is not only a new face on the entrance to the department, but just really that view and punctuating the Everbright that you have at sort of at the end of that axis. So this image gives you a really nice idea of how you'll actually see the Everbright and how you'll actually, it'll become a focal point that I think really helps to draw you in to the rest of the space. So that image is really important. You know, what the fonts are, what the words are, and all of these images still up for discussion with staff. These are really just character images to get your feedback on overall look and character. Some other key parts of the project are our tween zones. So we're showing how that happens in the, let's see, that is the northwest corner of the department. Let's see. These doors here actually lead out to the loading docks, that kind of orients you. So this is showing how we can just use simple paint and graphics on the wall to help kind of create almost a reverse canvas of sorts to apply graphics, make that space in those in our decor changeable over time, but really create a unique environment for the tweens. So the new flooring will have new wall graphics in paint, some new furniture. We can't create models of just anything we want in terms of furniture. So some of these tables and chairs are just representational. We may end up with something a little different, but it gives you an idea of the sense of the space and how large it will be and how people can use it. Then we get to our snack zone and the aquarium, just kind of give you an idea of how that space will lay out. One of the things we're thinking about is the potential to enclose or remove the dome there. It's something up for discussion. If we decide to, there's no functional purpose to it right now. So if we want to de-emphasize that because of some of the other moves we're making, we have the opportunity to do that. So I'm completely up for discussion. The concept works either way.
That's a good question. Did we repair that or replace that dome? That's the skylight we did a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, that you're thinking of the
So the
skylight
dome,
wall.
the dome, we haven't ever done anything with.
What Annie's referencing is the mural as you walk in.
Yeah, but we haven't really done anything with that in years, right?
No, when we did the last renovation, we removed the 4 columns
Okay,
that were
okay.
at each. Yeah, the skylight you can actually kind of see in the background of this image that stays. And then we get to our interactive zone where the action really happens. So we're showing the Everbright. We have been able to get the foundation and the forensic quote for that. It was slightly less than we were expecting, which was good news. So this just shows how we can create a unique space here, a couple little alcoves for wall-based interactives. We've got the projection interactive on the floor, and then our Everbright. So, and then what we have here is a potential, it's sort of the maybe in all of this because of our budget situation. It would be nice to be able to highlight some of these areas with some new light fixtures to really bring them some focus. If we find out that we have a budget situation, all of these concepts work with lighting you already have. So those are some of our things because SMC is still working on budgets. We don't have numbers yet. I really wanted to have that for this evening. They're just having issues getting numbers from trade, no reflection on SMC. Everything is just taking a long time right now. I can't guarantee that everything I have here is on budget, but what I would say is we have a lot of flexibility in this overall plan and this concept to get this overall look and strategically start to take back some things if we find out we do have a problem. And I don't even know that we do yet, to be honest. I know that's probably not a great thing to say in a board meeting, but I'm just being very honest about where we are. So any questions about the look before I go through kind of schedules and next steps and those sorts of things, since we're on some imagery?
I just have a comment. I was at ACT recently and it's like a mall now and they have one of those, maybe not exactly the same, but it was very cool. It brought your eye. There were a lot of kids, you know, parents, whatever. So anyway, I just thought it was cool.
I just ask you.
Yeah, sure.
Just going back to the dome for a moment, was that you were just saying, you don't have to actually physically go back. Did you mention that we could was that what you were saying, is to eliminate?
We could eliminate that if we felt that it no longer served a purpose.
Sure,
So
that,
we were suggesting some new lighting in that area because that is one spot that is actually pretty dark.
Okay, that was my only concern, is would that change if there needed to be lighting and would that add any significant amount to be able to get lighting in there?
What we are actually suggesting in this particular concept is to add more lighting in that area. Okay. Yeah, so I think that is, I think it's a very interesting feature. We actually wondered when we started the project if there was something functional, like was it mechanically related, but that was just entirely put in 2 renovations ago as a feature. So it would actually take a lot to take it out and try to patch in ceiling tile. I don't think we'd be happy with that result, but we don't need to keep it. And it is a little dark there. So we're suggesting some new lighting.
Okay, I mean, does it add light? Isn't it a transparent? No,
it's painted, isn't it?
No, it's painted rather dark.
Not the sun.
The skylight, which is in the back here, we're not doing anything.
Okay, I'll
There's a mural.
go on my own time and take your interest. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Comments? Good. Well, we will, in terms of next steps, we will certainly report back should we see any budget concerns at all. It is a volatile time right now. And if we have any, and we believe that we've done what we need to have a strategy that's flexible, but in case there are surprises, we want to make sure you know about them and what our plan, not just to tell you there's a problem, but how we plan to address it. So I think we're going to have a lot more information here in the next couple of weeks as SMC gets through this. What we can do, and we kind of did this on the Makerspace project as well in response to that, is create some alternate bids. So if there's some things we're just not sure about based on bid results, like light fixtures, like the Echo Dome, those sorts of things, we can create alternate, get prices for some of those elements, see what the bid results are, and use trustees to decide what we take based on the results. So our plan is to, once we have all that information, know that we're on track, we'll finalize our interior selections. We are buying a small amount of furniture and shelving as part of this. Do a little bit more work on our interactive features, then we get into our working drawings and specifications. really want to tee this up to bid at the end of the summer, so we still are on schedule for what we want to do and get construction started. So, any other questions I can answer? I'm on Zoom, actually.
Looking good, no, it's looking good. Can't wait to get this thing going. You know, but I think it won't be as big a project as it was with the,
We're trying our best to stick to a total project budget of 400,000. So we got less than half the makerspace.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, very good. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Really appreciate it. Thank you for staying.
You bet.
Okay, let's go on to action item 6, approval of special event extended hours.
I move that the Board of Library Trustee approves the extended service hours on August 26th, 2022 to 10 p.m. for the purpose of the Teen Film Fest after party.
And second?
Comments, questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay. All right, let's go on to action item 7, adoption of the 2022 budget amendment.
I move that the Board of Trustees adopts the May 17, 2022 budget amendment.
Second.
Any comments, questions on that one? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Gala? Yes. Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Smart?
Yes.
Trustee Samari?
Yes.
Trustee Seflet?
Great, we don't have any new business. Others, you have the joint meeting, thank you, with 25 on Saturday at, what was it, at 8, right? And then the meeting at 8:30
9 o'clock meeting, 8:30 burns.
for that.
It's a half an hour.
Oh, 8:30. Oh, great.
Half an hour. Okay, at the maker place. At the maker place once again.
Maker play.
So we do have that going. Does anybody have any other that they want to share? All right, I think we're done. Actually, no, we need a motion for adjournment.
The motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Aye, opposed, nay, and we are done.